Part 2 about how my boyfriend caught me cheating on him with his older brother.
So I got pregnant by my coworker's husband.
Storytime. My parents found out that I was dating a white boy.
Sam, you're gonna hit the curve. Sam, you're gonna hit the curve.
Part 2 about how my boyfriend caught me cheating on him with his older brother. So we heard the door open downstairs, and at this point we were both naked. So I ran to my boyfriend's room as fast as I could, and as soon as he came upstairs, he saw me without any clothes on. So then I had to play it off like I was ready to do the nasty with him. So for the next 2 weeks straight, I was going to my boyfriend's house and doing the nasty with his brother while he was at soccer practice. Well, the one day after his brother and I did the nasty, I fell asleep in his brother's bed. So my boyfriend came upstairs, and he didn't see me anywhere, so he was knocking on his brother's door. And we didn't hear anything because we were sleeping, so he just opened the door. And I woke up and he was screaming at both of us. So him and his brother got into a fight, like literally fist fighting. I was trying to break it up, but then I was also trying to put clothes on. And when my boyfriend saw me trying to get dressed, he took my clothes and told me to get out. And when I wouldn't get out because I didn't have clothes, so he literally grabbed me and threw me outside. And then he came back and threw a towel at me, so I had to walk home with only a towel on.
Crazy ass story time about how I almost got away with sneaking out. A little background information. It was the summer of my sophomore year in high school, and my parents are super strict. Like, they had a tracker on my phone, they had a tracker in my car, they have cameras all over my house, and my curfew was 7:30 even on weekends. Well, this boy that I really liked was throwing this party, and I begged my parents to go, and of course they said no. So my friends and I came up with this elaborate plan on how I was gonna sneak out of my house and go to this party. Well, one of my friend's brothers had his license. So at 11 o'clock, after everybody fell asleep, they parked in my neighbor's driveway.
Before everybody fell asleep, I made sure to put my ladder up to my window from my bathroom. And because it was in the back of the house, there were really no cameras around there. Well, skip ahead, I couldn't get down the ladder. So my friend's brother had to come around and try to move the ladder. But I was still too scared to go down the ladder by myself. So her brother crawled up the ladder. And once he was on the roof, he tried to help me get down. Well, then he fell like for part 2. Part 2 about how I almost got away with sneaking out. So like I said, he fell off the roof. Let me elaborate on that. So while I was going down the ladder, my foot slipped. So he grabbed a hold of my hand and I started falling along with the ladder. So then he grabbed a hold of the ladder, tried to pull it back, but when he did that, he flipped over the ladder. Well, he fell through this glass table that was on the deck that was around my pool, and everybody in my house woke up. My dad came running outside. Oh, and her brother wasn't moving after that. So my dad called an ambulance, and my friend who was with her brother had to call her parents. And pretty much after that, I got grounded for a full year. I didn't have a phone or anything. They took my car away. They also drilled my windows shut. My friend didn't get grounded because her parents knew that she was going to this party. Oh, and her brother was in a coma for 3 months.
So I got pregnant by my coworker's husband. So I guess story time. So we both worked at an adult store, but they were 2 stores side by side. Her store closed at 10, mine at midnight. And her husband would come over to my store while he waited for her to close up. And we would just chat. And that's it. So one night I messaged him just to ask him something about her birthday that was coming up. And one thing led to another. And I sent him a naughty picture. And we started messaging often. One thing led to another. We ended up hooking up. We would hook up while she was at work. I even went home sick once, so she would have to cover for me, just so I could be with him. He had never cheated, and I had never done something like this. But we just had a spark. The sex turned into love. I thought I couldn't have babies, so we never used protection. This went on for a year, and she started noticing. Come back for part 2. Okay, so this is part 2 on how I got pregnant by my coworker's husband. So like I said, she started noticing that him and I had an attraction, so she started saying how it was so cute that him and I were close like brother and sister. Her and I got close, and she would always want me to go over for dinner. And they would also take me shopping. It was kind of weird, but I got to spend time with him. It was a secret, but one night I was drunk and I told a close friend. The following year, that close friend messaged my coworker on her birthday and tells her everything. At first, she didn't believe it, and we were okay for a little while, but one night she messaged me and told me she knew everything. He must have gave in and told her, even though we agreed we would never admit to it. A month later, I found out I was pregnant. I told him, and long story short, they moved because he got deployed, and she changed all their information. And now I have a 3-year-old he's never seen.
I got these shoes from Target, and I got home and I started unboxing the shoes, and inside the box there was a little note. On the note it said, "Today's your lucky day, come to this address to get your prize." So automatically I was like, oh my god, David Dobrik is gonna give me a Tesla, you know what I mean? I showed my brother the address and the note and everything, and we went. So we pull up and then we knock on the door and this old lady answers. She's like, "What do you want?" And then we give the note and we're like, "We found this note." And she's like, "Oh yeah, 1 second." And then she goes to get something. So the old lady comes back with like this stone and she gives it to me and she's like, "Here, keep this stone. It'll keep you safe from all the spirits." I was like, okay. So the night of, I was keeping the stone in my room, but I just could not sleep. I felt like someone was looking at me and I was really scared. Like I literally felt like someone was staring at me. I told my brother and we went back to try to give the stone back to the lady. She wasn't there, so we left it on her porch. Some way after we left this stone at this old lady's house, it gets mailed back to me. And I never gave her my address. Today I'm gonna practice driving so that I can go visit all of my boyfriends.
Sam, you're gonna hit the curve. Sam, you're gonna hit the curve.
I'm back from my driving lesson. It was kind of scary. I still can't drive, but don't come for me because I could drive in a straight line. Just like, I can't do lefts or rights, but I can drive in a straight line. I'm a hot dog, if you didn't notice. Let me tell you a story about something that just recently happened to me. It made me cry. So there was this guy that I really liked, and then we kissed, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I think he likes me. So then the next time I saw him, I was gonna ask him if he liked me back. Long story short, I asked him if he liked anyone. I thought he was gonna say me because we kissed. He told me he doesn't like anyone. I'm a clown. So I was playing with my little cousin, and then I scared her for fun, like just playfully. And then I was like, "Rawr!" And then she started crying, and then she turns around and starts running, and I see that her pants are full of shit now. I'm gonna practice for like when someone wants to fight me. Stop. Stop it. Why did I laugh? Oh my god, I'm so ugly. I'm so freaking woke. I don't sleep with my eyes closed. You know how I sleep? That's how I sleep. So, stay woke! Stay woke! Stay woke! Stay woke. One time I had to babysit one of my neighbor's kids overnight. We're gonna call the kid Benny. The parents didn't really tell me anything when they left me alone with Benny, but they left me a note and they were like, you can only open it in emergencies. So at this point, I'm alone with Benny. It's like 11 p.m. and I told Benny, I was like, dude, you should like get to bed. It's late. Then Benny starts getting really red and he's like, no, we don't want to sleep alone. Sleep with us, please. I didn't know why Benny said us, but I was like, whatever, okay, like, yeah, I'll sleep in your room, like, it's fine. So fast forward a couple hours, it's like 3 a.m. at this point. This is the best part. Benny starts talking in his sleep and he's like, take her instead. You're not my friend anymore. I am not yours. And I try waking him up and I look at him and his eyes are wide open as he says this stuff. I was freaking out, so I went to go open the note that his parents said was only for emergencies. It just gets better. The note said, we're sorry for not telling you. Run him a cold bath. Call 911 in case anything happens. What the?
Storytime, my parents found out that I was dating a white boy. So a little background information. My parents are super strict, especially my dad. And on top of that, my dad thought that races should not mix. One of his sayings was, you don't see a blue jay f***ing a pigeon. AKA, white people and black people should not be together. Sounds stupid. Yeah, I know. Anyways, like I was saying, it was my freshman year of high school and I had been dating this boy for 2 months. And of course he was white. And we had to keep it super low-key because if any of my friends found out about it, they would have told my dad. Now when I look back at it, those weren't good friends at all. Anyways, every Friday, my boyfriend and I would go to the movies. And we would go to this theater that was 45 minutes away because nobody that I knew would be there. The only person that knew that I was dating a white boy was my sister. Well, the one day after the movies, I couldn't get a ride home, so I had to get a ride home with him and his family. And as soon as I pulled up, my parents were waiting outside, like for part 2. Part 2 about how my parents found out that I was dating a white boy. So like I said, my sister couldn't come pick me up, so I had to get a ride with him and his family. And what do you know, as soon as we pull up to my house, my dad is standing on the porch waiting for me. So I told his parents to drive around the block one more time while I called my sister and told her to distract my dad.
So as we're driving up to my house again, I see that my dad isn't on the porch. So I run into the house before he could see me getting out of a white boy's car. So a few months go by and we're still dating, very low key. And the one night at 3 in the morning, I get woken up by my sister. And she says, you better delete any pictures that you have of you and you know who off your phone. And you better come up with the story right now.
Because one of your friends took pictures of you walking with him in the hallways and kissing him behind the stairwell at school. So after I deleted everything off my phone, a few seconds later, my dad came into my room screaming his head off. He was so mad. I ended up getting my ass beat, and I also got grounded from my phone for 4 months. But after that, my mom ended up leaving my dad, and then him and I got back together.
Story time about the girl who was absolutely obsessed with me in high school.
So it was my junior year in high school, and I'm just gonna tell you guys the first story of how I knew that she was absolutely obsessed with me and wanted to be me. Well, I had been dating this guy for like a month, and I sent him nudes. Well, my nudes got spread around the school.
And everybody knew they were mine until this one girl, and we're gonna call her Addie, started saying that they were hers.
I guess one of my friends was talking about it in class and they were like, OMG, did you hear that her nudes got leaked? AKA mine. And Addie was sitting at the same table and she said, no, those are my nudes. And at first I thought this girl was just trying to be nice. I was like, oh, well, that's nice of her, you know. Like maybe she's just trying to say that so that way nobody will bully me, I guess. Well, the one day I texted her about it and I was like, hey, like you don't have to do that. It's fine. I'll take responsibility for it. I did it. And she was like, what are you talking about? Those are my nudes. Like for part 2.